A rough childhood, overdosing at 15, and snitching as a street rapper, Jace was not supposed to be where he's at today. But somehow, he overcame those obstacles, sitting at millions of streams and currently having 1 million monthly listeners. Begging the question, who is he? How did he get so popular? And how did he regain his position in the rap game? I'm Rashad Fashir, and this is Jace, the story you never knew.
Damn,
January 10th, 2003, Jace Lavor Slater was born in Fort Worth, Texas, to a family where he had 6 siblings. As a kid, his only hobbies were rapping and playing video games, like on his PS2. And he listened to all sorts of music, like rap and rock, listening to artists like Lil Wayne, 50 Cent, and Chief Keef, as well as bands like Radiohead and Current Joyce, even rappers like Doo-Wop Kane and Summers when he got older. But besides this, his childhood was rough. His family was extremely dysfunctional, and it was a very toxic environment for a young kid growing up.
It was terrible. My family was pretty dysfunctional for real. There was always an argument, probably like 60 family arguments every year.
When he was 7 years old, his dad left his household, and that's when everything went downhill for him.
When my dad left, I was like 7, 8 type. I was getting shot at, near-death experiences.
Damn, at 8?
Like that.
He hated his childhood, and it was partially due to the effects of lacking a father figure at home. Even though him and his dad were always on good terms, the moment his dad left,
I just got straight into the wrong crowd.
his dad was the one disciplining him, stopping him from listening to music with profanity, etc. But his mom was softer and couldn't keep him in check. He didn't care about school, and the moment he got to 9th grade,
I dropped my ass up.
he became a hooligan, breaking into cars and got into drugs, forming a serious dependence to Xanax, eventually overdosing at 15, just a few months after Lil Peep's death, which still haunts him to this day. He was walking home from school and stopped at a bus station. When he woke up,
I sat down. I just remember waking up in an ambulance. They said I was unconscious, like barely breathing on some,
he thought,
I'm in a UFO or something. I'm seeing like metal ceiling and shit. I'm in the back of this shit like.
But they found a gun on him and put him on probation for about a year, which in hindsight ended up being a blessing. He had many close shaves with death, including getting shot at when he was 14, and at that age he was selling grass, which got him into a situation where he was robbed by a 22-year-old man with a gun in his face. Another time, after people thought he had a pistol, a guy came out with an AK with the towel hidden over it. Jace ran, but shots were being fired at him. These types of experiences traumatized the young Jace, and he still deals with the repercussions of his lifestyle to this day, but doesn't feel like he was a victim. Instead, it comes with the lifestyle.
A nigga can't complain. That's what happens. A nigga can't be young as hell in the streets, living fast, like start being never shit happen. Like
in total, he had
6 near-death experiences.
And due to all the trauma,
I'm on anxiety medication. Like I got PTSD, like diagnosed PTSD, anxieties.
After he overdosed, he caught his gun charge, and through the legal system signed up for a program that took him off of probation early. All he had to do was get a job, and his job sucked. One day,
this girl messed up his order and got rude with him, and he threw 2 large fries at me. So I swung at him through the window, and he got scared and drove off. And then the manager was like, if you weren't new, we would have fired you.
Eventually, his mom got evicted and they had to move. So right when he was about to get a second job, he sold his first feature for $75 and said screw it and went all in. And during this time, he didn't have much guidance due to his father's absence. So he said the people who really helped him teach him things about life were his big homies who taught him the street rules, and his probation assigned mentor, who he was assigned to after catching a juvenile gun charge, who taught him how to get out of trouble and how to get his priorities straight. At 15 years old, after being together with his girlfriend for 3 years, they had a kid.
I had my daughter on the way, and I was only like 15 when I figured out she was on the way.
However, a couple months after they had their child, she cheated on him with another guy and had another kid, so they split up. And once again, Jace was abandoned in life. After Jace had his daughter, his mindset completely changed, and he had to make it in order to support his daughter, which for him also meant not taking part in the illicit activities he was taking part in prior to having his daughter. At first, he thought having a kid wouldn't change him.
I got my job, but I was like, man, I'm gonna keep selling my weed. I'm gonna still keep, doing what I gotta do on the side to get it how I live. But
after it happened, everything changed.
It just changed, when it really came down to it. Like,
Jace always wanted to rap, but he
knew like my family was too poor to buy studio time for me, for real.
Always a little kid, like turning on type beats on the TV, instrumentals and stuff, trying to freestyle.
He thought there must be a way to do it at home.
One day I was like, man, I know it's not no studio computers and nothing. Like I know it's not like no expensive computer they're using to make music. Like I'm pretty sure they just use a computer. So
and he figured it out. However, due to his family's financial situation,
my family was really poor, so I had to wait all year. So my birthday, I'm not getting nothing. You feel me? So like I had to wait till income tax to get my laptop.
So his mom got him all she could afford, a $40 mic. His first song was posted on December 24th, 2016, the day before Christmas, and it's still up on his old YouTube channel. And after his first song has been dropping ever since. At the time, he was posting street rap, and he'd go by the name TGE Doo-Wop, inspired by the Chicago drill rapper Doo-Wop. Back then, he was playing a lot of video games like GTA San Andreas, NBA 2K, and GTA 5, which is later where he would become friends with YBN Namir and Almighty J. During that time, he was in a YouTube rap group called Trap Boys Family with Namir and Almighty J. However, eventually they fell out, and in his own words,
Jay and Namir, they was older than me, so they had jobs and stuff, so like they was able to buy the equipment way before me, so they got goated with that and went up.
He was 13 years old, making their cover art and even his own cover art, which is normal for him when he was young, doing everything.
I was recording myself, making some of my covers sometimes, making some of my own beats sometimes.
So Jace has been making music for close to a decade, and it wasn't an easy journey. There were multiple times where he had equipment breaking, personal issues in his life, where he was thinking about quitting, but he persisted, and it paid off. And through posting songs on YouTube, he realized it was what he wanted to do for the rest of his life. Making music turned out to be his escape.
Just use music to cope with this. This gave me, like, later on in life, I was prescribed anxiety medicine, all that shit for this shit. So like,
do we still
I
take that
always
shit
use
now?
music to cope with this shit. Vent, rant. I ain't never really just ever ranted with my mom.
Dude, man, YB and
He used to turn on a beat and vent. It was a coping mechanism. However, his mom
had called me and she had got on my because she figured out I was making music. She didn't like what I was saying and showing. Cause like,
let me untime you out. Cause what in the world?
I was just like, you know, the product of my environment type.
She didn't know that it was how he vented and got his emotions out, because it was never safe for him to do so at home. One day he broke down and explained to her how she was never there for him.
I'm just sitting there crying like, she like, oh, you probably need a therapist, and I'm like, you never talk to me. Either way, like,
LMAO, chill,
you know, I
chill,
was
chill,
just
chill,
shot
chill.
at
I hit the
like
wrong
twice. You know, I just almost died like off pill, robbed at gunpoint at the age of 15 by a 26-year-old. You feel me? Like,
his life at home would eventually get more hectic, and once no one agreed with him in his household,
that's when I went to go live with my baby mama and shit. That's when my life really took a toll.
And say he was a grown man in a boy's body as a teenager. But once Jay started making money, his mom was okay with it because
taking weight off her shoulders, because she used to have to ask family members for help and shit. And now it's like, okay, she don't have to go ask for a handout. She already got me type.
Eventually, he felt like Chicago rappers washed out the name.
Ooh-wop, because 1030, they got two-wop, moo-wop, woo-wop, crew-wop, all that weird.
God damn.
Like,
So he changed it. After one day, he realized
that's corny. They washed it out. I said, stop calling me that.
his new name was Jace, spelled Iayze. While all of this was going on, Jace was faced with the responsibility to take care of his daughter, which a lot of his music was even about. Pretty soon,
I started making like 3-4 bands a month off streams, 5 bands a month, shit like that. So.
And once 2020 hit, he started making real money, and it was a huge relief to him because he knew he could take care of both of his daughter and his mother.
I wish.
Once I seen like that type of money coming in, that's when I realized like it's
that's
like
the plan, though. I'm gonna try to
like
get
at the end of the day.
Jace is known for his rash personality and constantly getting into beef with other rappers, and 2020 was when it all really started. The first being with Isaiah TG. Isaiah and Jace originally got into arguments over their names being similar, followed by Isaiah dissing Jace's daughter, and Jace pulling out a gun on Instagram Live with Isaiah. The beef has been going on for years now. Jace clowned Isaiah for his mental illness. Isaiah clowned Jace for buying promo off of him back in the day. They did squash it for a while, but it's still going on to this day. In 2021, Jace was co-signed by Summers and Can, which gave him a massive amount of exposure. Jace was actually a huge fan of Summers.
15, 16, I was listening to Summers.
When Can first heard him, he immediately said,
and was like, yo, we gotta make a song like right now, you know?
And eventually, they started hanging out in person. Can and Jace became quite close. Can even put him in a group chat with Yeet, and they made a song. However, the song never dropped due to something he'd do in the following year. He was working with all of his inspirations, and said working with those he listened to when he was younger was his biggest achievement.
Really, like, my biggest accomplishments be like meeting the people that I used to listen to.
This is when I and most people started listening to him and were introduced to him. And Jace wouldn't be as big as he is today without Summers. It's undeniable.
When me and him locked in, met each other, started with each other, that's when like people started giving my chance for real in this type of like scene type.
By 18, he had reached a decent amount of success in the underground, and if he had stayed in school, he would have just graduated. And to end the year of 2021, he signed to Simple Stupid Records, who's a subsidiary of a bigger label, Geffen Records, who artists like Yeet are signed to. Jace dropped his first song at 13 and faced many struggles, like his equipment breaking,
going through real life situations. Like, you know how Fort Worth is. It's not gonna be easy growing up there, you feel me? So
I don't.
Going through all that, like, it took me years. It took me from 13 all the way until 17 to actually really be stably on. So it was like took about a good 4 or 5 years for real.
And all his hard work over the years would lead to his breakout song. In the end of that year, he started beefing with the infamous Yeet fan, Twisty P, who spoke ill of Summer's family as well as Jace's daughter. And Jace confronted him in person. Twisty P ran off, and Jace took his beat, money, and all the stuff. That event spawned Jace's breakout song, Come Here, a diss mocking the situation, which put Jace on the map.
It was when I dropped this song called Come Here, and that was recent. So that was like my first million plays type.
In 2021, Jace had 5,000 followers on Instagram. A year after, he had 100,000 followers. He was getting a lot of attention. However, despite all the success Jace received in 2022, he failed to keep his eyes on the prize, going mainstream, and would get involved in a lot of petty beef, which ended up burning a lot of bridges. Something he still hasn't really recovered from to this day. The first being with YB and Namir. Remember how they used to be friends? Well, when Jace started getting attention and telling people he knew Namir, Namir said he didn't know who he was and he never played GTA with them. And if we're being honest, it might have meant a lot to Jace, but YB and Namir might have just forgotten. But Jace didn't care. He responded by saying,
"It's the no little baby or something like." Nobody wants to lie about a YB and Namir, you know, like.
And got really mad and exposed Namir for flipping his gang affiliation.
How you, I'm gonna let you talk. How you went from GD to Crip? How I went from GD to Crip? It happened.
The Namir situation might have seemed heated, but it was tame compared to what happened next with Jace's ex-inspiration, Summers. In 2022, Summers got into an altercation with a plug for $1,000, or in other words,
lie about
he was robbed.
Namir? I have no
and
idea,
instead
bro.
of settling it himself, the biggest
Why the hell
bird
would you lie
asked his
about
brother and a couple of friends to rob the plug.
Namir?
So on
It's
March
fucking
29th,
Namir.
2022,
What
Jace,
fuck would I
TSM BZ, and Desire set up the plug and beat him with a pistol in the parking lot of his apartment. Jace realized there was a gun in his passenger seat and let off a few shots, breaking up the fight. The police reportedly caught it all on camera, put the pieces together, and brought Jace in for questioning. He was being faced with 99 years in jail for gun and robbery charges, and he squealed. What he didn't expect were the documents detailing his confession, aka snitching, getting leaked. To this day, he maintains his innocence, saying they're faked, but it has been proved by a bunch of people in the situation, and his street persona was ruined forever. Promptly after it was leaked, Summers and Can cut ties with him.
You realize if you snitch, like, you finished, right?
And Jace dropped a diss on Can called No GTA after Can dissed him. In the end, it's pretty clear why Jace snitched. He was facing 99 years, and as a father, probably didn't want the next time he was able to spend quality time with his daughter in an old age home. But despite that very valid reason, it was a huge betrayal. Summers helped Jace a lot.
Like, me and Summers are homies. He'll never claim, like, he never wants to claim, like, how he helped me. Like, he knows how much he helped me.
And Jace used to even brag about being friends with Summers. Burning so many bridges would eventually bite him in the back. His song with Yeet never dropped, and at one point Cole Bennett teased the Green Tip video with Offset, G Herbo, and NLE Choppa. But it never dropped because Jace snitched. He has a history of beefing with rappers in their early teens.
Wait a minute. That is not NLE Choppa. That is not NLE Choppa. I don't know who did this Photoshop or editing, bro, but that's not NLE Choppa, bro. At all. NLE has never had no haircut like this at all. That's facts. What is this, bro? They made him a Wakanda warrior. Why would they ever do this? Who did this? They need to be fired.
Choppa
Immediately.
But it never dropped because they snitched. He has a history of beefing with rappers in their early teens as well, which is also a bit weird. For example, he was beefing with Baby Santana, who was 14 at the time, as well as Some Sixes, another teenage rapper. All Some Sixes had done was play a Jace song at a show. Jace got mad at him for allegedly copying him, which prompted him to drop a diss on Some Sixes, where Jace would make fun of Some Sixes for playing recreational soccer, and Some Sixes' friend exposed Jace for signing for only $70,000. Another example of Jace being petty was his beef with Cash Dami. another rapper in their early teens, who he got mad at after Cash Dami originally ignored Jace's request to make a song with him. So Jace exposed him for not being a blood. So in 2022, Jace definitely had a huge year, but he couldn't make the most of it. He had an underground hit, Come Here, as well as Green Tip 556, which both blew up, but all the beef he'd get into eventually caught up to him, and he lost a lot of the momentum he had built up, which honestly is just karma. So after all of this, me and most fans wrote Jace off because snitching usually kills rap careers. But to my surprise, despite having a dip in interest from fans of Summers and his associates, as well as his fans that were into his street rap, Jace's versatility was almost like an insurance policy for his career, because it turned out that most fans didn't actually care about his street image as a rapper. A lot of his fans were underground rap fans, or from TikTok, otherwise known as teenage kids from the suburbs, who didn't care about snitching either. And his music has been doing better than ever, without any cosigns. Today,
facts.
after seeing how PNB Rock died, he changed his record deal so that
The way I got the conditions on my contract set up with my label and like my daughter's gonna see all my royalties.
even getting full custody of his daughter, and said being big and signed changes everything,
You can't say certain you gotta get media trained, all that, like.
which is kind of true. He hasn't really involved himself in any beef in a long time. It seems like he's more mature and able to cope with his status as a public figure. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I go by Rashad Fashir. Have a nice day. See you next time.
Damn. Dude got shot when he was 8.
From being fired
He
from a
got
ghost
robbed when he was 15. He was just getting fried. I'm not even gonna lie. Straight fried.